Yeah, the eighth sphere is not the moon. Blavatsky reiterated that in her book. This is Dark Journalist Video Part 2. And one of the things that I know they use with Carl Jung, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, all of them were talking to the wireless. They were using the same wireless to talk to their digital twin. The doppelganger is a digital twin, has physical effect, courtesy of the N-series math, bioplasmonic imprint to their biofield. Several of the high-level Masons just using Morse code to talk to each other with only their biofield after World War II. So the mystery schools being up in arms and fighting over all of this, that's your same X-Class Protect projects who has control of the human DNA databases. Now, we may call it a mystery school, but one of the things I've tried to get my channel to understand is that this is human to human. They don't understand that. They're looking for little green men. Well, the people on my channel, I think, do a lot more now. But all of the propaganda that we've had for the last 70 years or so has been little green men. So, plus the star seeds that are tethered to Cisco control planes in business right now today. Your CIA handlers in all the groups with every New Age community, with anybody who could be a medium or a channeler, anybody who could do anything real with their actual neurons and bioelectricity. Some people call it psychic. Call it whatever you want. Those are your abilities, and they're natural in humans if you develop your biofield and your own bioelectricity. That's the number one thing they wouldn't let anybody do as long as I've been alive. And they absolutely, human to human, in business, use this stuff for only the people that can afford it. So if this is all about ascension and moving from one realm to another, why are these humans trying to trap our energy here? And why are the Abrahamic faiths so unhelpful? See, the Norse and others used oratory to pass down knowledge. But the Abrahamic faiths and your crazy-ass Chaldeans and all these Gnostics, they're going off of bubblegum wrappers from antiquity that were conveniently handed to them. At the same time, Book of Enoch and Nag Hammadi in the 1930s. More propaganda, in my opinion. That's just my conjecture. So, I sit here listening to this and I'm like, yeah. So there's Steiner and other people trying to tell what's going on. But that's Crowley's Lambda project. Crowley went ahead and worked with JPL, your founder of Scientology, on life extension technology. That's what it is. Jump in another body, augment your old body, make a clone of yourself. Then they handed it to all the billionaires with Lockheed and friends. Killed off JFK, and then, bitching with Eisenhower at the very same basis where they have a lot of underground computer access, just like Cape Canaveral. Then you have your Bimini in the Caribbean and Florida, and yeah, that's where they're all humped up because they know they left a bunch of, after World War II, access components underwater where they would need them when the time came. Blue Angels, Consumer Electronics Show, people talking. As well as that Patriot Soapbox guy. I had heard some of it, but I didn't really believe it. Then that Cayman Islands problem came up a couple times with stories from bankers. And I'm like, oh, okay. Plus your Bermuda Triangle. Their bases are underwater. The tic-tac, plasmonic, just like their gravitonics. And they ride in plasma streams through the atmosphere in weakened areas of the Earth's electromagnetic surface, and they control gravity. They pour blood in the cement. And when they reset people, humans are, you already know, thermal ripple wave or otherwise, blown apart and their cells magnetized into that biocomputing or turned into prima materia. It can create anything. It's prima materia. It's cellular structure. Make a building, something else that's, well, we can't make complex mechanical. Sure they can. The whole biosphere is plasmonic, so are we. So I'm listening to this, and my mind goes to what I was watching before I came online and had my brain put into the dirty laundry of everybody's propaganda. I'm like, Notre Dame, there was the guy that in the fire, and they all went, De Molay's mad. Well, the Templars and the way they were digging for all the relics and the arks throughout the world, and we all know the Templars were already here mining all the copper and doing things with it. And then you have a lot more propaganda about, oh, well, we've been reset all these times, etc., etc. It's always negative. Kind of like the very unhelpful Abrahamic people. It's all negative. Everything is bad. So in relation to contacting the interdimensional systems like the Black Knight satellites, the satellites that have been up there since the 1800s, you're talking about augmented genetic circuits that go back to the 1800s. Human husbandry with macrogenomics and underground computers since the turn of the century. So there's Steiner telling them they're already using the wireless, choosing who is going to be allowed to go out there and promulgate the next set, like Jung and the other guy that I can't remember at the moment, not Bernays, his pedophilic uncle, the main one everyone always talks about, Freud. And so all of them are sitting there communicating with these wireless sensor networks that are, again, fused not only with their genetics, but the bioplasmonic imprint of their biofield. That's your digital twin. Systems aren't new. And right now today, our Pentagon brags about having 50 years of digital twins of human bodies. So for me, it makes perfect sense because there's a linear track of the development of the internet. Where'd you get the transistor from? We had vacuum tube. Oh, here's a transistor. And what they tell people, it's alien technology. It's fallen technology. No, it's us. And one more thing I want to tell my community about Blavatsky and what the dark journalists referred to as the left-hand brotherhood people, and one of the absolute worst ways to put a black crystalline structure so that she couldn't see in the ether or elsewhere. They tried that on me. They told me after they did it, about 4 or 5 years after they did it. They failed, but they certainly tried. My ex-husband was a bad dude with the CIA, a real bad dude. And he had done energy work with me every step of the way for 5 years. And one of the people that I worked with very closely actually opened a business called Synergy and took the web name synergy.info. And him and my ex talked about how I pushed your crown chakra down and I sealed you up and all these other things. They worked together to do it. Used to be my best friend, was one of my best students. That's what they did. They wanted my website. Synergy.com is 25 years old. So I'm not a channeler anymore. And I never really was in the way that everybody else was. They would always go trance channeling. I never needed to do that. I could just listen. And then the Crowley symbol, unicursal hexagram, information was coming down in that geometry. I had a fit. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why do you need lithography? Metamaterials. It was in 2002. So the biosensors went commercial in 2005 to anybody who could install a light switch with Zigbee and Bluetooth. So here I'm sitting in 2002, and instead of being able to hear through the ether, the atmosphere, and the extension out into the currents of the resonance of my own energy, you have to use one of these little symbols, and then it starts drawing it down. Well, just so you're clear out there, that's beam steering. And I tell people all the time because they accuse me of horrible things. Again, you're very unhelpful, brainwashed, hive AI style Abrahamic people. This is evil, that is evil. You're like that guy out of the Mummy movie. This is cursed, that is cursed. It's math. And they're using it, like those right there. They vibrate. And when they vibrate, that is your lithography, however you want to say it. Accessing the beam steering, the NFT, those NFT tokens they're using right now, that's your cryptocurrency. And that runs with your blockchain, your biofield, energy harvesting, protein folding, all of it. 30 years. Free space optical. Oh, we're going to space. It's the Internet of Space things. It's the Internet of Free Space Optical since 2004, with Stargate since 2009. So, where are the good guys? Where's the other side of the Mason Corps, allegedly, that wants to fight each other? Then here come your Gnostic, creepy fucking weirdos again. We've uninstalled our veins and arteries, and everything is evil. We just have to wait to die. And your simulation people, same thing. It's all negative. And helping them, the same people who did all this, the same ones who've been walking around for 150 years, who knows how long. And they're like, well, they use time travel. And even the guy in the interview from last night, he's like, not exactly. And that's what I said. I'm like, it's not quite what they're doing. But they are jumping in and out of bodies. It's not a problem as long as the genetics match close enough and just take your body. How are they doing that? The wireless. You call it the ether. So do they. Plugged into a Cisco control plane. Sabrina, do you want to police the astral plane? So my concern is always the same. And the drudge the other day, microtubules, they know where the soul is. All these things that seem nebulous to people, not at all. Where's your anatomy? You have no idea. And to me, that would have been, and it was for me, lifelong, the number one thing. I'm like, it's just the biofield. What's the big deal? Leave your religion at the door. Everybody got a biofield. And nobody would talk about it. I thought it would get better. It got worse. Because they're all bought in to remoting other people and making events happen that are only for them, a town at a time. They run the whole town genetically. This ain't new. My biggest concern right now is because everybody's so messed up chasing the Illumidonkey and the Masons and bankers and family names instead of taking back their own anatomy and getting out of the way of those signals. Because those signals, 3009, are autonomous. And when I found what I did last night, after I got hit in the face with what is an active sensor network, and I knew it was there, it's in development. No, it's there in 2004. Heavy development, 2008 to 2012. Now it's full-blown autonomous, ready to go. It's got access at the layer 0, which is under your skin. And all of it is connected to these same people who in the 90s down at Congress already had, oh, I can see the future. Well, geez Louise, if I'm under everybody's skin and I am giving them a nano-lobotomy when they sleep, genetically as well, to make sure that the decisions they make, the way their internal organs grow, their brain growth, their memory, where are they storing themselves Horcrux style? We're crystalline beings. Where's that niobium, huh? Oh, they're just bouncing it off the satellites. Horse shit. They play with memory, but where do they store theirs? See, they're looking for things. My notes are full of that. I couldn't figure out why they wouldn't shut up. They couldn't hack into my brain. Not after what happened to me. And they were looking for my memory. Whereas with them, where they store their actual encoding to do what they do. I'm very suspicious that it's conjecture right now. I'm still looking for it. The connectivity to show it or the actual white papers. It's not a joke. They're wide open in my side of things in computer networking. But they store themselves in crystal, just like a Voldemort as far as Horcrux type of stuff. Objects. What were they rounding up in World War II? Why were they after the Ark of Gabriel in Antarctica? Because it's all about them. They don't need humans. They see us as a big circuit board, our cities as well as our bodies. Everybody screamed about DID. That's brain-computer interface, an agentic AI for data storage, DNA steganography, because DNA holds more data than a hard drive. They have to set you off. Oh, they have to NLP. Yeah, that's natural language processing with autonomous wireless sensor networks, reading your brain tissue with that wireless free space optical and EEG. And then it's just talking back and forth to that digital twin. 50 years worth. This is human to human. So the mystery schools, if they were really fighting amongst themselves, well, they all failed except the bad guys who are now fighting amongst themselves. No benevolence. They did nothing good. Nothing. Anywhere in the engineering for all of this or by their actions. And the commentary about JFK wanting peace, they don't want that. They want blood everywhere. You know, prima materia. So where are the good guys? Where's the Demolay for real and the other Templars? Reforma Mini Fratres. Where's everybody? Oh, they're waiting. They're hiding. I don't believe that. Not quite sure what to believe at this point, given certain things going on, because the people out there that have hopium, the things they say are totally garbage. They're really, sincerely, not real. Like AI for good and all that kind of stuff. They don't understand the technology. So I try not to harp on them too much because it's very unfair. They didn't work with the equipment. They don't understand. And then the other people, well, we could use it for good. Yeah, but you haven't done that in 30 years, 50 years, 60 years. What are you doing? Getting ready to roll the DNA over, just like they talked about when I was younger. Tactical satellite, all these other things. So Trump makes Space Force, and that's when I thought they were going to do something different. No, Black Projects is above their head. Now, I don't know. It seems like this 5D chess and all that. No, I still think we're watching people being puppeted because I warned people. I said, Trump's family is augmented. They're not going to turn off what they've already spent 100 years plus building. But my question is, if they want to re-Pangea the planet and open Atlantis back up, it makes total sense why they'd have done it the Al Bielek map way. And they don't want anybody on Atlantis. With the original Egypt and the Grand Canyon. And some people say the original Levant was never over in the sandbox. It was here. So he goes and draws Canada, Mexico, and the US together. There's your new Atlantis. I think people out there, as I've said a gazillion times, some people are interested in this type of stuff for, you know, what's anthroposophy or, sorry for messing up that word, but for normal people, you need your anatomy or they will literally eat your brain tissue. That is not easy to deal with. They want a magic answer because they're used to that. And that was what the mystery schools warned against 100 years ago. You have to let humans develop spiritually. That's what they suppressed and murdered everybody to stop. Why would they do that? It's not like they're new. It's not like they're short-sighted. AI requires a ton of power. The best power they've got are human neurons in a dish, biocomputing. And I saw that when I was younger. That was the goal. Upload me to the cloud, where you burn forever in a plasmonic chipset and never escape this realm. I don't understand why all these humans would stand there and play stupid about the anatomy that makes it happen while lying to each other about going to Mars and, you know, we're on the moon and all this. They had low Earth orbit satellite in 1865, but they couldn't go to the moon until 1969. Then even 3-4 years ago, the NASA guy, oh, we lost the tapes, we can't go back. That was literally like, I think 4 years ago, 5? Well, maybe 6 now. And now all of a sudden, $70 million paid by the millennials to build a moon village. And the moon crashes into the Earth and releases all the singularity because the moon is not where they're pulling their databases from. That's the reflection point that they're watching. The satellites are all mirrors. Standing waves, beam steering with electrical engineering, because nobody will tell the truth about human anatomy already on 50 years of databases. How do you pull out of that after the last 5 years of augmenting people per national GDP with market share. Not only do they not want to spiritually anything, they think that once they upload to the cloud, they live forever. You burn away. Well, energy can't be destroyed. You'd be surprised how long you can run a system on your human neurons and soul energy. Now, one of the things that's in my writing is that the creatures that fell, the elementals, the celestials, the angels, like everybody was fighting about it because they were taking celestial beings in chunks and trapping these beings in bodies. And I came across Jonathan Kleck one day because I heard his name out loud while I was exercising, Holy Spirit wise, which is, it still has not happened since then. And I can count on one hand in my lifetime when I actually heard a word or a phrase. This was a name. I had no idea who he was. And he said they had trapped angels in human bodies and were siphoning them to keep them here for energy and power. But the angels were made at the start of everything. We're the ones made in God's image. We have the soul spark. They're different. So why would you do that? And later on, I wrote about the soul trade energy. Well, why would you do that? Because this is your realm and you want to stay here. So any of us traveling through what is, in my opinion, supposed to be the living library, you don't get to graduate or go to school anymore. You don't get to have your own soul's journey, feeling your own skin, connecting skin to skin with another person. There's always a machine or a human in between you and your somatoform. Yeah, it's written that way right now today. Ain't new. 30 years means it's not new. Hello? And it's longer than that. So, for me, you're not dealing with little green men. Those are engineered biological entities that they've had on tap underground waiting for the idiot class to try to augment themselves up top here because their DNA won't hold it. And they know it. Very dangerous to have hidden all this time. So I've been trying to think of what could they possibly do. Well, they have a bunch of augmented humans with data cubes and ways to manipulate the wireless sensor networks for actuation. They have geofence calibration and calculation under the skin, layer 0. Then they have all the different ways to electrocute you, magnetize you, and other things from the inside out. You don't have any of that. They have it, and I've already put these white papers out, by wiggling their eyebrow or thinking a thought. Welcome to the plasmonic imprint of the human biofield in that digitwin. I think a thought. It's done. And so that's what they have in the smart city for controlling the drone, all the other things I just said. They're good. They're augmented. Everybody else is fish in a barrel. Red shirts for DNA and protein folding because they didn't want all that DNA. They wanted everything gone. In the 80s. That's what they were talking about. So that's why for the last 3 years, I've been such a bitch. Most people were like, oh, you're so cussing, you're so mean. I'm like, how could you do this to people when you damn well know better? That's a soul in a body. And people told me it's because they're fully eaten away by the AI. And I'm like, but they like it this way. And so then the Darturnalist is talking about how this left-hand path groups and all this infighting from 100 years ago. And I'm sitting here listening going, oh, y'all in big trouble. That's NASA. All of them. JPL, Crowley, and they're still using the neural networks, which are a unicursal hexagram of lithography with a digital twin in a database. Right now, in the math. And when you are interdim, that they build with synthetic biology. Everything is black and white. There is no color. The soul powers things. So all this lying about putting us on Mars, trafficking our bodies and whatever else to these other species, that's all them in their storytelling. Keep people placid and flaccid waiting for little green men that will never come. And we're back to listening. Mark 5:36, amen. Just thinking.